Toronto FC, the team that consistently makes changes, has made yet another change. They have introduced a general manager. Joining me live on the spot. Can we have some breaking news production values here? Nice. We spare no expense here with production values here at nextsportstar.com. We have none other than Anthony Totera, host of The Red Card, who's going to come up and join me right now. He's on the phone. Anthony, lay on the information.
Well, Tim Bezbatchenko has been named the new general manager in TFC. He comes from the MLS head offices, highly regarded as the new capologist, the new era of different GM joining TFC as announced a half hour ago.
Are you there?
I'm still here.
Okay. I'm battling like allergies like you wouldn't believe. Tell me a little bit more about him. What is his background? Where does he come from? What's he known for besides being able to use an abacus and get all the numbers correct?
Well, he's come from, as I said, the MLS head offices. He's worked there for a number of years. He's a former player in NCAA. He's a guy that has worked with a lot of the big contracts with different teams in MLS in regards to designated players. He is a very, very young guy in his mid-30s, if I'm not mistaken, and a guy that is really a real number cruncher when it comes to getting value for your money when it comes to signing DPs.
So he'll be able to, he understands personnel, besides being able to have a budget, knowing what to do with it. And on top of that, Tim Lewicki, the head honcho of the Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, is basically going to give him a checkbook and say, here, man, go out and get me some players. He knows how to find personnel. That beyond being able to be a number cruncher, which is a big part of sports.
Tim Lewicki is going to be hands-on, as witnessed again here today at this press conference. He will be hands-on on each and every decision made by Tim Bezbatchenko and also head coach Ryan Nelson. He will be the guy that will be overseeing everything, even though there is a new GM on board right now. There was a lot of questions being thrown at the new GM today if he has the power to fire the coach, and right away Tim Lewicki was interrupted in telling everyone that would have to come through me before that is decided. So that tells me that he's pulling the strings even of this new GM in place.
Do you know who Richard Petty is?
I sure do.
Does this remind you of a Richard Petty move where Richard Petty's going to be basically, he'll be like the pulling the strings there? I mean, if
Richard Petty wouldn't know a soccer ball if it hit him in the head. But Richard Petty didn't know what a 4-4-2 stands for. So, no, Tim Lewicki knows the game of soccer quite well. He's won championships. Mm-hmm. He brought over Beckham. He got Keane. The guy knows the game quite well.
So I'm saying
Richard Petty, with all due respect, didn't know the game of soccer if he studied it day and night.
What I'm getting at is a few years ago, Richard Petty hired John Ferguson Jr. as his general manager. And while John Ferguson, I think it was John Ferguson, or maybe it was Cliff Fletcher, anyhow, when they were talking, Richard Petty was mouthing the words as if he wrote the script, which he practically did. Is it Bezbatchenko?
Bezbatchenko, yeah.
I mean, okay, so we know again that he's a number cruncher guy. He's worked at MLSE offices, a lot of very well respected. But so it's basically Tim Lewicki's going to be running the soccer team with this guy basically making sure all the numbers are in place?
Yeah, basically that's about it, Perry. I'm pretty sure that he's going to come up with a list of players that they want to attack in Europe. They've got a list, as they said today, of about a dozen players that they're targeting. Once again, I mentioned about going over to Italy and trying to attract a couple DPs. It looks like they're targeting Italy. It looks like they're targeting possibly a couple other European countries, maybe Spain, maybe Portugal. It looks like they're going and they mean business this time around.
Well, that's good, though. I mean, again, the predecessor was Kevin Payne. That's who lost the job after only 1 year on the job.
Well, yeah, not even a year, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, this guy basically, Tim Lewicki basically told him, go out, man, get me some players. Probably gave him the money to do it, and he didn't do it. And I'm just, was Kevin Payne basically a lame duck because he wasn't brought in by Tim Lewicki?
No, I just think Kevin Payne made too many mistakes. Trading away a guy that he's going to regret for a very long time, who is lighting it up, a star right now in MLS with DC United, Luis Silva. He traded him away for allocation money that he never used. I mean, I can go on and on about the amount of mistakes Kevin Payne made. He went after an Argentinian player, Maximiliano Urtu, for almost 2.5 months. And the guy played a total of 37 minutes, and right after that, he traded him to Portland.
And the guy they got from Portland, is that the guy with one of the most unusual names I've heard in sports?
Bright DK.
What is it again? I saw the guy's name in paper. I thought, what?
Bright DK.
Bright DK.
Yeah, he's got blazing speed, but he can't finish if his life depended on him.
I know a lot of guys who have blazing speed, but they can't finish, okay? It's a great story. So this was, I mean, I'm not really, is there something funny? Okay. I've been busy with sort of UFC stuff. So this was a planned press conference. It wasn't one of these things where they just sort of announced it.
Well, we got the press release yesterday afternoon at about 5 o'clock that there would be a major announcement. A lot of people were stumped, but about an hour in, we figured it had to be the GM. As Tim Lewicki was saying a couple of weeks ago, he narrowed it down to two guys. Who got his guy?
I mean, you've got your pulse on everything. You've got spies in places people don't even know exist.
Well, let's put it this way. The last question of the press conference today came to me, and it got a bit heated between me and Tim Lewicki, where I said, why should the fans trust you guys? They've seen this. They've heard it before. Why should they trust you, Tim Lewicki? And he came at me, let me tell you, all guns are blazing, and I love that.
And what did he say to you? Did he say, you know what?
He doesn't want the fans' money. He just says, wait and see till January. Well, I barked back and I said, well, why January? We'll wait to see what we sign. Well, I said, they've heard this before.
Did he say your press pass has been revoked at that point?
Wouldn't bother me.
Anthony Totera, man, he gets into the corners. He goes into the dirty areas. He asks the tough questions. That's what you get on Red Card. Anthony Totera, thank you for being our man on the scene for the latest Toronto FC appointment. I believe this is number 1058. No, I'm just joking, right? Way to go in there. Hopefully this will be the guy, because for people who do care about soccer in Toronto, they're waiting for something. Poor David Miller, the former city councillor, city mayor of Toronto, dumped his tickets. He was so discombobulated by all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you heard the interview that was done with Brian Angus, a wonderful interview that Brian did with David Miller. I mean, I did a rant on that to close it off, Perry. I got no time for head coach Ryan Nelson. How dare he tell anyone that they should pay double once the team becomes good to get their season tickets back. An absolute moron comment to make.
Well, we'll see how long Ryan Miller lasts on the job, okay? Thank you, sir, for joining us today for that late breaking.
Barry, take care.
Okay, bye. See how quickly he just ended that? Okay, thank you, Barry.